Welcome to the Fire and Earth podcast with your hosts, Jason Mefford and Kathy Groover. Fire and Earth, giving you the keys to unlock your limitless potential.
Welcome to another episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. I'm your co-host, Jason Mefford.
And I am Kathy Groover. And we are going with another one of those prompts today. And this is an interesting one. And once again, we don't exactly know where this is going to go, but I'm kind of excited about it because my brain is like,
It's like, okay.
So it should be an interesting one.
All right.
What do I love about the person I am becoming? And being that I just came home from a week-long retreat, and I think my entire life has been about self-work and self-discovery and self-actualization. And I can tell you the person that I am, we're constantly changing, right? We're a different person than we were 5 minutes ago, really. The person that I am becoming, what I love about that for me personally is the courage that I'm showing in allowing those changes to happen. The curiosity that I'm asking questions about who I am and what do I want. And that there's a deepening to me of I'm still the same essential person, but I'm deepening into those qualities and those traits and those things that I love about myself. So that was my answer that I hadn't planned and it just sort of came out. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, and obviously we have to dig in a little bit deeper on both of these, or else it's going to be like a 3-minute episode.
Yeah.
Right?
And thanks for coming.
Yeah. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Yeah. Well, and for me, it's kind of interesting. I mean, because we're both obviously have always been personal development kind of people, right? Yeah. I mean, I started reading Stephen Covey's stuff and had a Franklin planner and all this kind of stuff when I was 12 or 13 years old. I mean, I've always been like on this, right? Always trying to do things to improve my life and become a better person, grow, learn, all that kind of stuff. So I've really kind of had that my whole life. But it's interesting, what I love about the person I'm becoming. I think probably one thing that I really love about the last few years, especially, is some of the letting go.
Oh.
And what I mean here is a lot of times, and I know I've been this way on myself, is I'm not like a stereotypical type A person, but I am. I like to get shit done. Give me a project line, some to-dos and everything, and I get satisfaction in like pushing and getting the stuff done. Yeah. And just part of my development, especially the last couple of years, has been the not doing stuff, right? And so kind of from a shamanic kind of a tradition, they talk about doing and not doing.
Yeah.
And how a lot of the not doing is actually more important than the doing. And for somebody who's been a doer my whole life, it's hard to not do. And so I've been working on this for a couple of years now. And in a way, it's really kind of freeing to just get up in the morning and it's like, what do I want to do today? And if I don't accomplish that, it's okay, because I'm doing other stuff. I'm not doing things, right? And it's meaning, not doing in a 3D sense, but not doing is also in a spiritual sense as well. And so it's nice, like yesterday morning, of getting to a point most days where I don't feel that pressure, right? Because I know each day is different for me.
Right.
And so I can't, I can only work a few hours a day now because I just can't do any more than that. That's just the way my energy flows, and with other stuff that I'm doing. And so like yesterday morning, I was just sitting out on my porch, watching the birds and just enjoying that. Yesterday, for some reason, a lot of birds came to my house. And we're hanging out, and I was just enjoying being with them.
Yeah.
And for a while, right? And not feeling that pressure like, oh, I've got to get all these things done. I have a big to-do list. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have businesses to run and
Yep.
things to do, but I don't have that monkey chatter in my head
Yeah.
as much now of, making me get my butt in my chair in the office, that there's a lot of other things that are more important.
Yeah.
I take longer to do certain things. It takes me longer to eat now because I'm much more mindful when I'm eating.
Yeah.
And it's okay, right? Where again, I mean, 15 years ago it would have been like, protein drink. I can't take time to eat.
Right.
And it's like,
Gotta
no,
go.
eating is a very deeply spiritual practice and meditative, mindful practice. It can be if you make it that way, especially if you're sharing a meal with someone else.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it sometimes takes me 2 or 3 hours to eat dinner.
Wow.
And it's okay.
I've not quite gotten to that point. But it's interesting that you say, it is about the slowing, it's about the presence, right? And so often as we get older, I've had so many clients who, this was at the height of my practice when I was so driven and so go and so type A. And, if you called me at 10 o'clock and said, I need you, I'd be like, I'm coming down, I'd go massage the person. Slight exaggeration. But I had, 2 or 3 women in my life who they were presidents of banks or like heading up these huge boards. And I admired them so much. And I hate to say this, but every single one of them is now dead. All 3 of them died way too young from cancer. And all 3 of them at one point said, don't be like me. You'll learn over time that being so driven and so type A, though productive and successful, and from the outside, people think you're incredible, not real good for you. And I kind of went, I'll never slow down. And that's just you. And then over time I went, fuck, I better slow down.
Yeah.
And, I think part of that comes from being in a relationship that is making me so happy. So I don't feel the need to escape into work, that workaholic thing get me out. I don't need to do anymore. And for me too, it's the curiosity. It's like, I have no problem now sitting in that unknown. Whereas before, if I didn't have every second of my life mapped out, it was like panic inducing to me because I had to have a plan. I had to have my 5-year plan. And now I'm like, I don't know, let's see what unfolds, because I've learned being so far on the path now that the path always led me to exactly where it's supposed to be. Exactly where it's supposed to be. And, we had talked, I think it was in between recordings, like if you change one thing, it changes everything and everything up to this point. If you go back and change one little decision, your entire life changes. And my life is pretty amazing. Do I have problems? Are there days that suck? Are there things that go wrong? Absolutely. But overall, I wouldn't change a thing. And I'm becoming, and that's a full sentence. It's like I'm becoming. And I love that. I love that I've softened and that, it's a little more Snow White to go way back.
Yeah, for those so yesterday I was they weren't coming on my finger, but I was, there were bluebirds and robins and sparrows and woodpeckers and doves. And I mean, I was, again, I get a lot of different birds that come at different times, but not usually all of them kind of at the same time.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
of course, you're not in California where I say rain is coming. And so they usually store up on food before the rain comes, but I don't know if it's going to rain where you are. So
I don't think so. It hasn't rained for a while, but
yeah. But yeah, so it's like I appreciate that I have slowed down, and I appreciate that I have dropped that feeling that I need to be busy all the time. And again, it comes with having a partner that encourages me to slow down and isn't type A and isn't like pushing me either away or pushing me to do more. So I love that I've gotten curious and I just kind of go with the flow now in a way that I hadn't before. And so I can't wait to see who I become. Let's have this episode again in 5 years and see where we are.
See where we are. Well, because I think the curiosity and the courage, that you brought up is also a good thing. Is I've always been a curious person, but I've still been judgy. I mean,
Mm,
we all tend to be judgy in
yeah.
some ways or another. And I'm grateful that I am much more curious now without the judgment. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, isn't that interesting? Right. I mean, I say that to myself all the time. Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, I wonder what that means.
Hmm.
Right. Without actually going to things meaning anything. Right. And so if I get sidetracked, because I do, I get sidetracked during the day. Okay. I have great intentions in the morning, but then I let life unfold and let things not happen to me, but I allow things to happen and I flow with it.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, I'm usually better about, well, that's how the day was supposed to go, and it's okay, right? Because sometimes those things that maybe I thought were so important that are on the to-do list don't
Hmm.
really matter.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so you start to see that more and more of what really does matter and what doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm on a board and we are getting pressured to make this huge decision that is going to determine the future of the entire organization. And it's a sleep losing endeavor. I mean, because this could make or break the organization. And we all met yesterday, and one of the guys on the board with me says, look, this is a volunteer board. This is a week and a half before Christmas. They're putting pressure on us that is far beyond what we as a volunteer board should be doing. And I'm not losing sleep over this anymore. It's like, this is not my job. This is not my circus. This is not my, and he kind of said that. And I went, oh my God, you're right. This was not what we were put on this board to do. And so
Mhm.
we're trying to figure out, like, now, how do we solve this problem? But it's like, this is not my issue to solve. I have set so many boundaries recently with clients who have been looking to me to solve all their problems. And, one woman is really in it deep. She's got some serious problems. And I texted her one day and I said, I am so sorry. This is now out of my scope. And you really need to go talk to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And I wish you well. And I hope this works out. And I've got to let you go. I'm so sorry. And whereas a
Well,
couple of years ago, I wouldn't have done that, right? It's like, I gotta help her, I gotta fix her. And it's like, it's not my thing. That's not bye. I wish you best. I wish you love and peace and
well, that
go.
kind of comes back to some of the courage stuff too, right? I mean,
Right.
you have more courage now to be able to set those boundaries and say those things now, where
Yeah.
before 10 years ago you probably didn't. And so I see myself too in kind of coming into more of my own power and
Mm,
courage and um being able to, I mean, I've always kind of said things that were sometimes out there in left field, right?
I'm out there with you.
Yeah, but I would then kind of care what people thought about me, or I
Mm,
would tone it down. And I, again, I'm not all there yet, but I'm getting better at not being offended, not caring what other people think or say, because it doesn't really matter to me. That's
right.
their issue, not mine.
100%.
And like you said, even on that board, it's the people running the organization whose job it really is. As the board, you're supposed to stamp it and, yes, make the decision one way or another and hold management accountable. But they're putting all that pressure on you because it's their responsibility. But again, a week and a half before Christmas, it's like, can
Demanding these things. And we're like, we're a
this is
volunteer board.
I know, can this decision really not wait until the first quarter?
Do you know when we have? 5 years.
Well, you got plenty of time.
Yes, we do.
You got
They
plenty
don't
of time.
they don't think so, but that's okay. That's a whole
Failure to plan on your part does not create an emergency on mine.
I know. I've used
So,
that so many times.
yeah.
So yeah, so I love who you're becoming and I love who I'm becoming. And it's been so fun over the last 5 years to watch us grow, right? Because we've known each other over 5 years now. And it's been so
I know.
interesting to watch our lives unfold. And um, I'm just so proud of who you are and I just love you.
Well, and the same back to you, Kathy. I mean, it's been fun doing this. Like you said, it's been 5 years, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost a lot of weight. I,
I've lost a lot of hair.
relate, relate. relationships,
Yeah.
business things that we've gone through, and it's fun to see. It's nice to see, and I've been very grateful to have these opportunities with you. So,
yeah, me too.
yeah.
All right. So look at who you are and look at who you want to be and start to make small changes. It doesn't have to be huge. Just sometimes shifting your mindset makes all the difference. Because as soon as you tell your mind to go in a certain direction, it's like programming the GPS. You tell it where you want to go, and then you trust that it's going to take you the best path for you. So program your mind.
Yep.
And start to love who you're becoming. I am Kathy Groover. I can be reached at kathygroover.coach.
And I'm Jason Mefford. I can be reached at jasonmefford.com. Go out, have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Fire and Earth podcast. See ya.
See ya.